Oh, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today has been a long day, but I was actually up in Auburn today, which is about 45 minutes to an hour or so away from me, and they've got a really good Petco there. Like, I'm talking about a really well kept up Petco, just because I'm friends with a guy who's over all the aquatics and all the fish and all that, and believe me, he knows what he's doing. He actually cares about the fish and all that, and they've got a really nice selection compared to other Petcos. And if you know anything about me, about where I like to get my fish from, Petco and PetSmart are not a place I would recommend. Nothing against anybody who shops there. You know, some people don't have a local fish store that's close to them, and the only pet store close to them is a Petco, Pet Supermarket, you know, PetSmart, that kind of thing, and I get that. But if I have the option like I do not shop at any of those places for fish. But that Petco is an exception because, like I said, it is a very well kept up Petco and they have some really cool fish there. But I stopped by there today and was looking around, noticed a couple really nice fish, and then I noticed this one Pleco in particular. Now, I was thinking that I had saw this Pleco before, but I wasn't exactly sure, but it's called an orange seam Pleco. This is what a mature one looks like. And right now, the one that I got today is only about 2.5 inches, so he's got a little growing to do, but he doesn't get really big, so that's definitely good. But check him out. Here he is right here in the bag. As you can see, he is very tiny, but actually, if you look really closely, let's see if I can find a good spot on him where you can actually see it. I don't know if the camera's going to focus or not, but you can already see a little bit of red or orange coming in on his tail. You'll be able to see it a lot better once I put him in the tank. But anyways, I think for the time being, we're just going to set him over here in the hexagon tank until I figure out a better spot to put him. In all honesty, guys, I mean, look at this tank. This is literally the simplest tank that I own. Some of the most generic fish here, just a bunch of tetras. And honestly, after I moved the 2 electric blue Jack Dempseys out of this tank has been pretty much nothing to show, in all honesty. And I've also taken some fish out of this tank. That's why it only looks like there's probably only 5 or 6 fish in here. But we do have one female Carbensis in here, and she's been in here for quite a while now, and she's loving this tank. She's done really well in here. That, a couple tetras, and some panda barbs, and that's pretty much it. So I think this guy should do pretty well in this tank. Now, in all honesty, I'm not a very big fan of keeping Plecos inside of tanks, just because me personally, have not had the best luck of keeping Plecos in tanks. If you know anything about me, you know I like to keep Plecos outside in ponds, because for me, that's where they tend to do a lot better, just because probably, well, not only do most fish do better outside, but obviously they've got a lot more to eat being in an outside pond anyways. And I think that's the reason why I've never had very good luck with keeping Plecos in tanks, is just because I keep the algae wiped down off the sides of my tank on a pretty consistent basis. But in this tank, it does grow enough algae to where I think he'll be able to have a good amount of food, you know, pretty constant food supply in here. And I just won't probably wipe down the tank, you know, wipe down the algae off the tank as much in this tank now that I'm putting this Pleco in here. Did that make any sense? I don't know. I've had a long day today, guys. I think what I'm trying to say is like the Pleco will have some actual food in this tank. Like, I'm just going to let the algae grow in this tank and let it do its thing. But while we let him acclimate, it's actually nighttime right now, and this is actually the time of the day when I actually feed my fish. This is when they are the most active, the most colorful, and this is when I feed them. So check out the peacocks right now. As you can see, they know it's feeding time. There's the 2 Jack Dempseys right there, the Leporinas, the catfish, they're all riled up. And we're going to feed these guys really quickly. I know I told you guys in the last video that I was going to be doing a feeding video here pretty soon, but I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys a little sneak peek really quickly as well. Also, the saltwater tank, blue light, oh gosh, I'm zooming in. Blue light's already turned on in this tank, but we'll go and feed these guys as well. Okay, so here's what I would typically feed to this tank at night. I've got 2 cubes of frozen bloodworms right here. I don't pretty much unthaw them or nothing like that. I just kind of wash them off for about 30 seconds, then drop them in there and let them just kind of do their own thing with it, and let them break it apart and all that, and just let them just go after it. And check out the Jack Dempseys right there going after one of the cubes, and then you got the dragon blood over here with another one. Jack Dempsey's trying to steal it from them. These Jack Dempseys have a lot bigger mouths than these peacocks do, and a lot of times what they'll do, especially that one right there, you see what he just did? He gets the cube to where it's small enough to where he can fit the whole entire thing in his mouth, and then he just runs off with it, and that's pretty much what ends up happening. And then all the other ones, they get broken off, the Leporinas goes around and picks them off, and as you can see, that's what the catfish are doing as well. And just, oh gosh, he just spit that one out. He got it right back though. But Just like that, 2 cubes of bloodworms gone. Now obviously the Synodontis catfish didn't get that much to eat, and neither did some of the peacocks, and here's where I kind of mix it up. Some days I'll feed some veggie pellets, and then some days I'll feed some sinking Hikari pellets, but right now I'm going to drop some veggie pellets in here. Peacocks will clean a few of them up, and then the Synodontis will get the rest as it makes its way down to the bottom, and that's pretty much what I feed this tank. This tank, between all these fish and my flower horn, they definitely get the most food without a doubt between all the other fish. So then what I do is I go grab me a cube of frozen mysis shrimp right here, and we come out here and feed the saltwater tank, alright? We're going to start shaking that off, and you'll see the clowns. They'll get majority of it, but you know, I got to make sure some gets down there to the 6-line wrasse, the royal grama, the shrimp, and to the corals, of course. So I feed this tank a good amount of food. Just try not to overfeed it, of course. But the clowns definitely get a good majority of the food, so you definitely got to put a good amount of it in there. And obviously the wave maker keeps it kind of circulating, and whatever they don't get, it goes back there in the overflow system, and well, the filter kind of takes care of it from there. And there's a shrimp coming up there. Look at him. He'll come up there and start feeding upside down on the surface. Watch this. Then he'll come and grab the cube right out of my hand. Look at that. I don't let him take the whole entire thing because obviously that'd be way too much food. But give those guys a good amount of mysis. Then we still got some left over. So then I come over here to the 2 Endler / guppy tanks, and I go ahead and give these guys a little bit, mainly for the cory cats and the loaches in here, but some of the bigger Endlers, they can actually eat some as well. And also our little sparkling Grommy, look at him. There he is right there. He's got a little piece in his mouth. If it'll focus, look at that guy. That is our newest addition this time. We got him in the last video, and look at him. He's just going around and munching up all the mysis shrimp. Check that out. Such a cool little fish. Like I said in the last video, I'm thinking about adding 1 or 2 more of these guys in this tank, probably sometime this week, because I think it'd just be cool. They're such a cool little fish, and now that I'm seeing them in here and how much I'm liking them, I think I want to probably add a few more. So I'll feed them a little bit of mysis, then I come down here to this tank and give these guys a little bit. Obviously I've got some more cory cats in here. I've got about 5 stir-by cories in here, so definitely want to make sure some makes its way down to the bottom of the tank for those guys. And of course the grown guppies, the adult guppies, they can eat some, but the little baby ones, they're not quite big enough to where they can eat this shrimp, and we'll come back and feed them here in just a second. So the rest of this mysis shrimp is usually what I'll come over here and feed to these guys. They don't need too much food, but you know what? For there only being a little bit amount of fish in here, these guys can eat a lot of food, and they'll clean all that up. You just wait. So then I'll come back over here to the Endler tanks, and I'll go ahead and drop some flakes in here. This is their main diet of food, at least for the Endlers and some of the smaller cory cats and stuff like that, and the shrimp, of course. Give those guys some, and then I'll come down here and give these guys some. Not a whole bunch, but you know, some, and obviously whatever they don't need, the cory cats gladly clean up. And check out the little babies. Look at them. There's the male coming up there and the female. I tell you what, there's not very many babies in here, but the ones that are in here are very healthy and definitely growing and showing a good amount of color on the tail. This strain of guppies, I noticed, I actually ordered these guppies earlier in the summer, and I was honestly expecting them to be a little bit nicer looking than this. And when I first got them, if you remember, they were not this size at all. They were only about half this size, and I had to grow that male and the other female into this size for them to be able to, you know, obviously breed and reproduce and all that. But obviously now they're looking very, very nice, especially the male. Check that guy out. Like I said, they don't have very much color, but on their tail is where they show the most of it. And then you see all these guys up here eating, chowing down. I tell you what, these fish are not very big, but they can eat a bunch of food. There's some of the tiger Endlers. Looking good, looking good. So that's just a quick little feeding of some of the tanks, and definitely not all the fish. Of course, I'll give you guys a whole rundown on what I feed all the fish and the turtles and the outside fish and all that. Definitely a lot more than just what the 3 or 4 tanks that I just fed. So that was just kind of a little sneak peek. But I think the Pleco has had long enough now to acclimate, so let's go and get him on out of this bag and into his new tank. Alright, you guys, here he is right here. As you can see, he is very, very tiny. And definitely got a little more growing to do. But let's go and get this guy in the tank. Just going to drop him on in, and he's off. So check him out, check him out. You can see him right down there. And now you can kind of see that orange looking stripe on his tail right there. And he'll start to get that not only on his tail, but on his dorsal fin and on his pectoral fins and on pretty much all his fins. Pretty much kind of like an outline over his body. So yeah, really cool looking little fish right there. And the cool part about it is they only get about 6 inches. They kind of have that wide, really broad body, but don't get very big, kind of like the clown pleco. But these guys definitely get a little bit bigger than the clown plecos, but certainly a really cool little algae eater. Look at that guy. And just wait till it kind of darkens up and that orange outline starts to come out a lot more. You can already see it on the dorsal fin. But this guy, he should look really well in here by tomorrow. So definitely a really cool new addition to this tank right here. And obviously he should do good in here. I don't know. We'll see. I'll definitely give you guys an update on that little guy in the next video. But I think I'm going to go ahead and let that guy settle on into the tank for now. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, please be sure to give it a like down below. Also hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. And if you guys have any fish related, turtle related, fishing related questions, pond related, anything like that, feel free to DM me on Instagram at fishing_pf, and I will definitely try my best to answer any of your guys' questions. So, as always though, thank you guys for watching, and with that being said, I'll catch all of you guys in the next video. Peace!